I always been into fashion since I was younger. Like I remember when I got my first piece of like a branded clothing. It was a pair of Rockaware jeans. I don't know if you're familiar with Rockaware, but it's
No.
a brand by Jay-Z. Back in the day, back in like I was in like grade 5, so this was probably like like 1999 or something like that. And so like that was like my introduction to like streetwear. Fast forward to today, or fast forward to when I started the brand, I was in law school, and my dream back then was to become a lawyer. So my idea was like I wanted to be financially free, but I also wanted to be able to do stuff for my community. And I felt like as a lawyer, I'd be able to be like an inspiration, like black male lawyer from the community, and I'd be able to like set a new trend because like I don't even know any black male lawyers from where I'm from. Like I know some black male lawyers now from Nova Scotia, but not specifically from North Preston. So like I wanted to kind of be that. And then while I was in law school, like I realized I don't really like this that much. And then I worked at a firm for that summer in my first year, and I was like, yeah, I know for a fact I don't like this. So what am I going to do now? And when I was in class, like I always would doodle and stuff like that, and I came up with my first design. It's the balanced success design. Like so, it's just justice scales, and then one side has a heart, one side has a dollar sign.
Yeah.
And it's work. You seen that one?
Yes, I believe I seen someone wearing that at my school. At my school all the time. I always see people wearing your sweaters, or they might on their phones. They have because a lot of people go to East Coast Kicks and they have like this thing on the back of their phone. I don't really remember what it is, but I always remember seeing your logo on back of people's phones. And when I go to my barber shop, the thing, I don't know what it's called, but the cape, I believe
The
it's
cape, the
yeah.
cape. Yeah, the barber cape. Yeah,
Yeah, Devin has one, if you know him, at East Coast Barbers.
yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
he's got one. So
Yeah,
why?
I always try to do the specialty items. But continue.
Yeah, that must be what sells.
Yeah. So I always try to tap in with my people. So like my barber, it was a barber. What is his name? I wish I could name
Marvin.
Yeah, Marvin. Yeah, how do you know Marvin? So
Okay.
Marvin is the barber that inspired me to get the cake. And then I still have to see Marvin and hook him up with some cakes because he gave me the idea. And I kind of just got them for fun, and then a lot of people liked them, so it was a good thing. But so back to the hoodie. So that was the very first design that I came up with. So like work, money, career, family, love, friendship, you have to balance to succeed. And with that design, that's like one of our best sellers, and it was the intro for me into fashion. So what I did was drop that sweater, and then I realized like, okay, well, if I'm going to continue to do this, it's not as easy as it looked. So I had to put in the work. I had to buckle down. I had to learn more about design, learn about like my customer base. How am I going to grow in Halifax as like an urban brand or as like a black business owner? You know what I mean? So I had to figure out how can I navigate, tap in with the community, but also tap in with the broader community of like Nova Scotia. And then I feel like I did that successfully by just being aware, like learning, tapping into like understanding what the mainstream likes, but also understand what I like and what I want to provide for the consumer. And one of those things was quality. So I always wanted to have like super good quality clothing. So like there's some people that have my very first sweater today. So that's like 4 or 5 years ago. That's 5-year-old sweater that people still have, So that's just a testament of the quality, but it's also like we still continue to go, still continue to thrive, get better quality. So like if you look at one of my balanced sweaters from when I first started to one of the sweaters now, back then it was good quality, but even now it's even better because I've been getting better at my skills, better at touching up the details. And yeah, like that's and another thing that I always say is like some of my friends, when I was first starting, they were like, you're never going to sell $100 hoodie. And like, my thing was like, okay, well, bet I'm going to prove you wrong. And today, like, yeah, it's cool. But in hindsight, like, look, like when I was in the moment, it's like, that was scary thinking like, man, like my friends don't believe that I can do it. And like, so what, you know what I mean? So, but the thing that I knew was like, people care about quality. If I focus on the quality and I can charge the premium, so then that's kind of where I got at. But it's it's not just having a premium quality product. It's more than that. So like the brand, building the brand helps. Stuff like that. Like just putting, giving it your all. I feel like you find that same with me pursuing law. It's like pursue what you think you want to do until it reveals what you actually want to do. Because if you don't pursue anything, then you can't get anywhere. That's just like sitting still. So I always tell anybody that doesn't know what they want to do, it's just whatever you're interested in a little bit, pursue that. Like try it out. It's just like, young kids when they're in school, like they try band, they try drums, or they try like soccer, they try basketball. Whatever whatever you feel like is you and what you love the most, pursue that, and then it'll reveal what's gonna satisfy you like purposefully, like what's gonna make you happy with your passion and with your purpose, and I'm feeling like that's what I do for what works for me, and that's what's working for me. So I'm gonna pursue this until the end, and it could lead me to something else. It could lead me to continue to build this, and you never really know.
Yes. Back to the part when your friends said they didn't believe in you, right? They couldn't see what you could, right? So that's essentially. Yeah. So you could see yourself selling $100 sweater, selling 1,000 of $100 sweaters, right? They couldn't see that, so they couldn't see what you could, right? And that's what a lot of people do today. They rely on other people's opinions and what they can see, and not thinking about what you can see, right? So what is something that you went into the business of clothing, but you didn't know then, but that you do know now? Or actually, you wish...
That's a good question. I like that. You got good questions, my guy.
Yeah, I was spending the last couple of hours watching so many videos how to find good questions, because I had a list of 20 questions, but I scrapped that because they were kind of not that great questions.
I'm sure they were great. I'll answer that question. So when it comes to what I know now versus what I didn't know, I'm always in a place of I gotta learn more, because whenever I feel stuck, or whenever I feel like I'm not in a good place, or whenever I feel like I don't know my next move, I just learn. And just learning, and it's just literally anything, learning stuff about stuff that I'm not even into allows me to connect dots in the future that I didn't even know I needed. So I would say something that I didn't know is I thought that I knew that it was gonna pop off. I thought I knew what I was doing, but once I really got it going, I realized I didn't know much. So now it's okay, now I know more about what consumers want, and that would be in terms of fitting, in terms of design and style. But it's also learning your customer base, learning my own customer base, what my customer wants. I'm trying to think of something specific that I didn't know that I know now. The main thing would be I didn't know it was gonna be this hard, and because it's still a grind for me every day, but it's something I'm passionate about. So the grind is not that hard, and that's the thing. People on the outside looking in might be oh, TREv Clothing is super successful. TREv Clothing is this, and for me it's some days I don't know if I'm gonna get rent for the next month. You know what I mean? Some days I don't know if you know what I mean. But the passion and the belief in myself outweighs the doubt. You know what I mean? So I just push, and I see the light at the end of the tunnel because I'm creating the light at the end of the tunnel. If I don't have the vision and I can't see where I'm trying to go, I can't get there. You know what I mean? So what I try to do is plan to a T, and that's one thing that you gotta with whatever business you're in, you have to map it. Oh, so I would say I didn't know how I would get to the success, and that's something that's going to be ever evolving and something I'm always going to be working towards. And I feel that's what people as you grow in the business, you got to figure out, okay, where can I go? What can I do? And that's what I'm always asking. And I have ideas of where I want to go. And I have not theories. I have an understanding of what I have to do to get where I need to go. But as I continue to go, the vision gets clear, as you get closer to your next goal or your next milestone, you figure it out as you go, and that's kind of one of the things that I would say for sure.
Okay, I believe you answered this question in the beginning, but just to go back on it, who are three people who have been the most influential to your business and have influenced you to do this or that, right? A different way. If you thought you want to do this way, but you saw like someone, so you saw a better, like you saw someone else's idea, but off of that idea, you got your own idea, which was better, right?
Yeah, so I wouldn't necessarily say these ideas are better or anything, but I would say where I got the ideas from. So when it comes to starting a brand, obviously I'm inspired by Jay-Z with the Rockaware and just being in the street fashion. And then I don't know if you know the rapper YG, but he came here back in 2015, 2014, and I met him, and he had a brand called 400, and then Alex McLean started his brand, I think it was like 2015, 2014, started East Coast Lifestyle. So all three of those things kind of like, oh, and there's a lady called Lisa Drader Murphy. She's from Nova Scotia, and she has a fashion brand for women. And like I'd say those four things were like the catalyst to kind of inspire me to be like, oh, like you can do this. You can build a brand. If like, you know what I mean? When I look at other people and I say, okay, they're successful in their field, okay, I can be successful in that field, even if it's not exactly what I want to do. I can do my own thing, you know what I mean? Like, because I'm a streetwear fashion brand. There's not really that many in Nova Scotia, and how can I succeed in doing that? So, like, I would tap in with all these different people that I just named off, and I would learn from their strategies. Like, ask them for advice. Like, Alex McLean is one of my good mentors. So, like, there's a few things that, like, even for me, breaking into the mainstream is like price points, like understanding price points. Like, he gave me a lot of good advice on price points and, like, how much to charge for my hoodies and stuff like that. So, like, that helped me a lot when it came to tapping into the mainstream. And, like, there's so much advice that I got from, like, Alex and these other people that it's hard to even, like, sum up or just even say one thing. But I would say that, like, what I do get or what you would get or anyone would get is, like tap in with the mentors. Find the person that's doing what you do and try to get close to them, try to ask them questions, try to reach out to them, and, like, they're willing to help, you know? Like, I met Alex McLean at a conference because, like, I want to have a fashion brand. Like, I was starting my fashion brand. He already has a brand. He's speaking at this event, so let me get tickets and go, and then hopefully I'll get to learn something. So I did that. Like, he's like, oh, anyone got any questions? Like, every time he asks, does anyone have questions? I put my hand up, ask questions, and then at the end, I end up getting to meet him and get to chat with him, and since then, we've been friends, and he's been able to give me a lot of good advice. We stay in touch over the years, and, like, just seeing him continue to build his business allows me inspiration to continue to build mine. And I find building those relationships and also having that inspiration, like, because I don't just look at, like, oh, his fashion business and my fashion business, let me use that as inspiration. I use all business in general. Like, I got friends that have, like, dump truck businesses, meal prep businesses, restaurants, bars, and seeing them succeed and figure their things out helps me succeed and figure my own things out. And I feel like entrepreneurship to me is, like, all the same. Like, even when it comes to, like, East Coast Kicks, like, I've been with East Coast Kicks kind of since he started. So, like, we started around the same time, and I've been growing within my business. He's been growing within his business, and it's cool. It's inspiring. And it's just, it's something that builds the fire in me to just see other people succeed. And, you know what I mean? That's for me.
So you surrounded yourself with business-minded people. So as you said, you had friends at a dump truck business, bars, right? So what I've always heard is from my research of what I watch on YouTube is that one of their number one things is always surround with like-minded people, not not with people that are doing this or doing that, right? All right.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
So I have next question. What is one myth about your industry or profession that you would like to debunk?
A myth that is easy, that you could just slap a logo on a shirt and that you could make money. because it's harder than that. And I feel like that's the myth that a lot of people think is just you can make a shirt and then you can blow up. Like, there's like probably 1% of companies that do that, but it's so much work and so many things that go in behind building an actual brand. And I feel like that is where the actual like growth comes from. It doesn't come from like, oh, let's make let's make a shirt and just sell it out. Like, people do that, but it's more than that. You have to build a brand, you have to build a community, you have to build a purpose behind it, you have to believe in yourself 100%. You got to find the belief every day in yourself. And I feel like people think that life is like, it's not about like being easy, but it's like find what you're passionate about and work. Like, it's not work, because all the hard stuff that you got to do, it makes it easy when you're passionate about it. So what I'm saying is, like, don't just think that it's going to be easy. Like, be willing and understand that it's going to be hard, but be willing to put in the work to make it successful. And when you put in the work and you grind, you inspire the next person and the next person and the next person and the people that are in your life and your friends and your family and the community to believe in themselves and pursue their own dreams. So, because that's what Alex McLean and YG and Jay-Z and all these people that are successful that I look up to and instilled in me, so that I can continue to pursue my dreams.
Okay. What is one social media platform that helped you get your brand out there, or what is something that helped you build what is something that put your brand out there that let people know that come look at my brand and not this guy's brand, and also what makes you different from other brands, right?
So I would say, so for getting a brand out there would be like social media, word of mouth, meeting people, like wherever I would go, wherever I go, I try to be genuinely interested in other people, so that naturally makes other people genuinely interested in me. And if I'm asking you about what you do and then you're asking me about what I do, I'm so excited to tell you about what I do so that I can tell you about my brand, you know? So that's kind of like one of the things for me is when you're building your company, yell from the rooftops, like tell everybody about what you do, because that's what's going to get you the exposure. That's what's going to get you find your clients, you know what I mean? Like, if you build a great product, clients are obviously going to come to you, but you can go to them too. So like early on, you have to yell from the rooftops and let everyone know, this is what I do, this is what I'm doing, this is my plan, you know what I mean? And that helps other people get on board. That helps you find your client, because not everybody's going to be your client. Not everybody's going to be your customer. So you have to be ready to like understand, okay, this is not my customer, this is my customer. And not to say like do everything to please your customer, but you kind of have to do everything to please your customer. But I don't mean like live, like you're not living to please your customer. You're living to build your brand. Because it's kind of confusing that I'm saying this, because you kind of are living to please your customer, but it's more of, yeah, okay, I have to get back to that answer, because that kind of trying to I got lost in the translation.
No problem. So, God, I forgot the question I was about to ask.
But when you were asking earlier too about like me versus someone else, like if like what do I got to do to get someone to come to my brand versus their brand? And the way that I look at it is like everybody is gonna be into what they're into, and everybody's not gonna be into everything. You know what I mean? Everyone's not gonna I'm not gonna get 100% of the people to buy into my brand. So what I'm saying is, like, so if me and my brother, we both have a brand, we're both going to have different friends. We're both going to have different circles. We're both going to interact with different people. So we're both going to build in a different way. So just because he gets clients doesn't mean I can't get clients, you know? So it's not us versus, it's not, you know what I mean? The way I look at things is like Pepsi needs Coke. Like, you know what I mean? Pepsi needs Coke. If it wasn't for, you know what I mean? That you kind of need that, it's like steel sharpening steel. Like you help each other grow, because you see what works for the other they see what works for you. You try different strategies, and you're essentially working together and growing together, even though you're apart. Even though you're two different businesses, you're still working together because, and that's the way I look at things. I don't look at things like as a me versus them, or it's us against them mentality. It's more of, we're in this together. We can both win, and let's win together. Like, I'll give any strategy that I have to anybody, because if it can help them, it just reaffirms that I know a little something, you know, and just then I could utilize it and continue to utilize it for myself.
Okay. Well, the question I had thought of was that, what challenges did you have with manufacturers? Because, and like, what challenges with manufacturers, and did you have any times where they wanted a certain price to make a sweater, and you wanted this price? Like, did you have to go to another manufacturer, or what?
So with that, it's always good to like be sourcing factories or sourcing suppliers, because you need to have a reliable supplier, and you always need to be looking for the next best, or like the better, and like for me, it's like I'm always trying to get better quality, so I'm always trying to find better suppliers. But as I become better as a company, as I become more profitable, then I'm able to like find those suppliers. So I have local suppliers, I have abroad suppliers. I share my suppliers, especially my local suppliers, because it's hard, because when you order stuff, you're gonna have mistakes. Like me, I have mistakes, and those mistakes can make or break you. But being creative is where you turn the mistakes into, like, you know what I mean? You turn the lemons into lemonade, and that's some of the things that I had to do, and I still continue to do. Like, I'll mess up on an order, or explain something wrong, and then the product will come in messed up, or it'll come in like a little bit off. But then I build relationships with tailors. I build relationships with with fabric, what are they called? Seamstresses, and then they can fix it. You know what I mean? You hire them to fix the mistake and pay for the mistakes that you make. So like those are just some of the many things that, when it comes to building a company, there's gonna be mistakes, and you just gotta be able to, like, there's been some times when I got products and I'm just like, this is over, like this is the end, like this is, you know, but then I lay down for a little bit, I brainstorm, and I think, okay, how can I make this work? And I feel like being a creative, it allows you to figure out things in a creative way to make it work good on your end. You know what I mean? So like that, I feel like that's a major key to success in business. Is there's going to be mistakes regardless of whatever business you're in. It's just, what are they? How can you fix them? And don't be scared to ask for help, because like the way that I try to operate is like, I don't care about my mistakes. Like, I'm not ashamed of my mistakes. I'm not trying to hide them. So I'm willing to go to anyone and be like, hey, I messed this up. What do you think I could do? Or, you know what I mean? I messed this up. Do you think we could come up with a solution? Or what do you think would be the best solution? You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to meditate on it, and things will work out. And yeah, that's a major thing. Like supplier issues, learning how to word things, learning how to cross your T's, dot your R's, not rushing into things. Like, there's one thing that I always tell people is, if you're gonna order bulk, it's good to, if it's not gonna break the bank, it's always good to tap in and like get a sample. I always get samples, because you don't get a sample and you mess up the whole order, then you gotta figure out the whole order. If you get a sample, it might be costly, but at least you know what the final product is gonna be like. And that, I feel like that's the beauty of it. Like, sometimes you're able to like visualize it and see how it's gonna be. Sometimes you gotta draw it out. Sometimes you gotta get someone, or you gotta digitalize it. But always get to closest to the final product as you can, so that you can know what you're gonna be getting, instead of like freestyling it, or like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna get 100 of these shirts from this place in up the street, and then the shirts come and they're not what you wanted. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, okay. I don't know if you knew this from the start when you started your business. I believe in 2015 you said you started your business, correct?
2017. The end of 2016 started 2017.
Oh, okay. So when you start your business, right? Were you starting? Where did you automatically like think to build brand equity, or did you later on start building brand equity? Because when I on Instagram and when I went on your website a couple of times, I always see on your websites, it to me it seems like when I look at someone else's brand, I can see your brand higher than someone else's brand because it's just the way you have everything. Like it's I can't it's, professionals not.
I feel like I get what you're saying. Like I present it in a professional way, and
Yeah.
and I feel like that's what I learned from other businesses. Like in order to figure out what is the best practices, you have to study other brands. You have to see what other brands are doing, and then you have to do it your way. So like that's one of the things that I did is like if you want to look legit, if you want people to feel like you're a legit business, you have to look legit. Like you know what I mean? You can't half like you can't halfway do it. You have to do it like you know what I mean? If you want a nice looking like if you want your brand to be perceived as a premium brand or like as a nice brand, you first have to have your website, have your social media, have everything coherent and clean and what's the word I'm looking for? Cohesive. You have to have everything cohesive. So like what I did, when I first but even before I started the brand, I had a Twitter, Instagram, Facebook page. I started all those, and then it's like, okay, now we're here, we're real. Then okay, now I have to pay for the website. I have to build the website. I had to make the website, and it took me I probably got like 60 hours in building websites because I put a lot of time on my website. I want my website to look perfect. But now that I built a website, like using one of like the platform site apps that you could use, platforms that you could use, it was fairly simple to learn, but a lot of hours to get it right. Now I can build a site. Now I can build sites for other people. So I did actually since I built my site, I built three other sites, and I actually got paid for it. So that helps me build my business. So the more you know, the more you learn from the bottom up. All that stuff. If you can do everything from your business from the bottom to the top, you can help other people build their business. You can help other people make websites, and you can make money off it. So what I usually do, if I make any money, I just put it back in my business. So if I build a site for somebody, or if I design something for somebody, if I make a profit off it, it's just go right back into my business. Because, like you were saying earlier about the building the equity in my business, is I'm trying to continue to build the business. To me, I don't really care how much money I make. I want to be able to continue to build my business. I don't care about making money at the end of the day. As long as I can eat and I can pay my bills, like my rent, like I'm eating, I'm living. I want to build my business because I love it. I want it to grow, and I see the light at the end of the tunnel. Might not be today, might not be tomorrow, might not even be 10 years from now, but I'm willing to stay on for the ride. I'm willing to learn what I have to learn in order to continue to elevate and grow as a business, and I feel like that is what allows for someone to be successful in business. Sometimes it makes more sense to figure out how to be financially stable, because then when you're in a financially stable situation, you can hire other people, you can bring in experts, and they can help you build the business, which in turn makes it easier for you. And I wish that I was in a position to be able to do that, because I do want to hire an assistant designer. I do want to hire full-time seamstresses, full-time social media people, but I'm not in that situation to do that right now. But I want to be, and like that's a goal for me, and that keeps me pushing to say, okay,
sorry to interrupt you there, but there was another weird, funny. The sound wasn't coming out right.
Okay. What is there anything you need me to repeat?
I would say, could you please repeat that last little part? I don't know if it. Hold on, I'm just trying to see what it caught.
What was I talking about? Do you remember?
No, because I was trying to think of I think of my next question and paying attention at the next time, because I was just thinking of my next question.
No worries.
Okay, I say just move on to the next question. So, next question: What was one time in your business that there was like a massive you had a big struggle and you almost gave up, but you didn't? What was one time that you were struggling very hard, but you worked. You couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel at that point in time, but there was just another corner, and you had to walk a little bit more, and get there, and you were in the light.
So that happens. That's a good question, because that happens all the time. Like it's a continuous battle to find a belief and to continue to believe. But I would say one of the major times is I have my stuff. Like, so I go to Dalhousie, and there was a store on Spring Garden that I had my stuff just in like storage there. Like, I had my stuff in the storage, and I didn't have insurance on my stuff at this time. My dad was like, "Oh, make sure you got insurance, because you never know, whatever." And I'm thinking, like, it's by Spring Garden, I don't need insurance. So, and I couldn't I couldn't really afford the insurance. So it was like $180 a month. I was like, I can't really afford that right now. In retrospect, I wish I would have got the insurance, but all the stuff got burned off. So like 95% of my inventory got burned up. So it was like tens of thousands of dollars worth of stuff. And I was in like a place of like, damn, what am I going to do? Like, I was like down to the bottom, like this is not going to work. But then my perspective shifted, and I was just like, okay, I burned the stuff all burned up, but the brand didn't burn up. So I just have to, like, what I did was I took a loan from my brother and kept going, got new stuff, and just kept building it up from there. Like, I still haven't recovered from that loss, but I continue to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I feel like it's the test of God. God saying, like, how bad do you want it? You know what I mean? Like, certain opportunities pop up. Like, when the good things happen, it's like God's giving me the alley-oop to keep going. And when the bad stuff happens, God's asking you, like, how bad do you want it? Do you really want it? You know what I mean? And you just got to keep going and get through it. And then you get through it, and you're like, oh, man, it wasn't that bad. And just a little bit ago, I was going to give up. It's like, you just got to keep going. And I feel like that's what educating yourself, continuously learning, designing, putting in the work, making the connections, all that stuff leads to you having the ideas to continue to build. Because sometimes you might get in a place where, man, like, I got no creative ideas flowing, or like I got a writer's block or whatever, and then you take some time to yourself. You learn, you educate yourself, you tap in with other brands, you surround yourself with people that are doing their passion, and then it continues to keep your fire and your flame lit. You gotta keep the fire going.
So, next question: what? Oh my God, I'll keep forgetting. What you had? So, what was one time in the path of building your brand new? So there would have been. So there's a path, and the path came to a right and a left. So you were in a good position at the time to the right. So let's say, okay, let's say this is just a hypothetical, not just say. So let's just say was there would be an option that you would gain a massive amount of following, right? And this question is basically like, it doesn't really make sense, but if you can understand, it's like within itself. It's hard to explain, but so like say one question would be you would gain a surplus of followers and continuing buyers for your brand, like a surplus of followers. Or left, you could sell, like, let's say, like, so many shares inside of your company, and you could have put the money you gained from the shares and back into the business to do whatever. So like, what is one hard choice you had to make and had to see? You would just like have foresight and see the future, right? So
okay, that's a good question, because I have a perfect example for that. So there was an opportunity that could be perceived as an opportunity. One of my friends, they had a brand, and they had, like, I don't even know, like 1 million followers, and they were doing this certain formula with their business, and they told me, like, I should do it with mine, and it would work, and it's good. But, like, my heart didn't feel like I wanted to do it. And, like, my heart was like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to build my business like how I'm building it. And, like, it's kind of like, I feel like I could be making a mistake, but I'd rather go with my heart and my gut and, like, go my route. And fast forward to now, that person no longer runs that business. Like, they like gave up on it or whatever. But it showed me, or it told me that, like, man, like, you got to trust your gut, but it's also, like, it's like selling oat. You don't want to sell oat. You don't want to sell yourself oats on, like, if you know and you feel in your gut what's the right decision, it's better to fail on your own gut than to try to fail on someone else's advice. You know what I mean? If someone's like, oh, you should do this, and then you go do it and it fails, that's on you still, but you'll still feel like you didn't follow your heart. You know what I mean? And I'd rather fail on my own merit than to fail on like someone else leading me down the wrong direction, or not necessarily the wrong direction, but they might be thinking it's the right direction, and I'd rather just go with what I feel like is the right direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What is one time?
Because it could be the wrong direction, and then it works out. Go ahead.
What is the one time that you like? Let's say you did something wrong. Like, let's just say you did something wrong the first time. Like you did something wrong, but then when you came back to do it again, this like the second time around, you got it right. So like, what is something you failed? You failed. Just something you failed, but from that failure you learned, and that learning experience led to you like. I don't want to say. I can't. How do I word this next word?
I get what you're saying though. Like I could go back to the supplier example, because it's like back when I first started getting pants and sizes. It's like I had to make my own size chart from someone that don't know nothing about sizes. All I know is you go, you buy a large or a medium, and boom. They don't have any, like the supplies that I got is all cut and sewn, so there's no size chart. You have to create your own size chart, or you'll be messed up. So the first time, messed up. Second time, getting better. And that's what the process is. Just you mess up, you get better. You mess up, you get better. And as long as you take the time to do the tedious work, you don't, like they say, measure 10 times, cut once. You're not cutting 25 times. You know what I mean? You're not messing it up. So I feel like that's a good example of that. But, you know, I try to just learn from my mistakes, and we're going to make mistakes regardless, and you just got to be able to stay on it, stay consistent, you know what I mean? Stay tapped in with the opportunity.
Oh my God. I keep forgetting. I have all these questions in my head, and they keep like going.
That's why it's good. It's good when you do the interviews. It's good to have the questions already ready, so that you're not like. Because I mean, when we're having conversation, it's good because there's some questions that are just going to come off freestyle off the top. But when you have a concise what you like when you do the interview next time or with anyone else, just have the questions that you want answered, and then like what are you trying to learn from the person, and then leave room for like freestyle, because freestyle is going to happen, like random stuff you're going to want to know just off of what the person you're interviewing says, and then you can like go back to the paper and be like, okay, well, the next question, if it gets dried up, you get to go to the next one. I'm not an interview expert. I'm just saying like that's what I find works.
Yeah, that's what I like. I like the freestyle, because then you have the freedom of a conversation, but then also sometimes, like, as my dad always tells me, like, he always says to me, like, for my podcast, what he always says is that have some points, like, he wants to have talking points and have questions, right? But you can go outside the boundaries, because if you ever listen to any of my episodes, you know, like, one time I may be talking about apples, and I'll skip and maybe I'll be talking about the science of apples, and I'll skip to somewhere out of nowhere, I'll start talking about rocket ships, right? Because I tend to do that, because I've got so much information. And when my stepmother was giving me advice one time when if you ever listen to one of my episodes, I feel like it was called the conversation about wealth, right? And as you can see, right, before in the making of that episode, we had what was going on, because like my dad, right, he wanted to have like talking points, and then like they're able to go freedom. But my stepmother, she wanted that it was almost like, I don't want to say closed box, but it was like almost like there was like a almost like just like a information, but you didn't want to go like to cars, to dump trucks, right? Because see, I can go to like this to this in seconds, right? Because I have so much information in my head.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you don't want to lose the person that's listening. You don't want to lose the listener.
Yes, that's exactly what she was trying to say. Because That's what I kind of do because I'm very sometimes I can be hard to follow, and it doesn't.
Yeah, but you're young, bro. Once you you keep doing this, you're gonna get better and better. You know what I mean? It's similar to what I'm doing, like tapping in with other podcasts, what they're doing, what works for them, and then how old are you right now?
15, just turned 15.
Yeah, when you're 15, like when you're 17, 18, and you look back at the old interviews, and then you say to yourself, "Damn, I came a long way." It's like with anything, bro. Like I'm like, "Damn, I came a long way from last year." Like, you know what I mean? Watch in a few years, you look back and you say, like, these are the training days for you. Like, these things, like you doing what you're doing now is the training. You reaching out to people, learning how to reach out, learning how to ask questions, learning how to vlog. You know what I mean? You're literally doing podcasts through Zoom. Like, imagine all the other people that you're able to tap in and get their information from. Like, you know what I mean? Look how easy it was to get me on here, you know? Anyone else you want to get on, all you got to do is reach out and do what you did with me.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying.
You did it good.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying because before right before I got in contact with you, I was just cold text as what they used to say is cold calling, but I'm just gonna say cold texting because I was just texting people on Instagram. I was just anybody because I was trying to get
But what I'm gonna tell you right now is that you owe it to the person that you're cold texting that you're prepared when they come on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm here, I'm cool with how the questions are and stuff like that, but you owe it to all the people that you're reaching out to be prepared and to be ready and to ask the questions, you know what I mean? You're going to learn as you go when it comes to, like, the mess ups or the forgetting or whatever, but that's part of your process too. But just remember when you're making up the questions and you're preparing, you owe it to the person to be prepared so that you're not wasting their time and so that you're giving them, you know what I mean? You're making it an experience for them, and they're here to help you. You're here to help them, and then you guys are helping each other. So just know that you're there, that you owe it to them to be prepared, and then it'll help you be motivated to stay on it.
Yeah, because that's one of my things, like my motivation for the podcast. Because when I first started it, I was all ramped up and I was putting out like 2 or 3 episodes a week. And now, if you see, like it's almost like once every 3 weeks now. But it was Christmas time. But I did like a lot of things and no excuses. You want results, right? Right. So
yeah, 100%, and that's right. I like how you just ended it with that because don't give me no excuses. Don't give yourself no excuses. Just make it happen and stay to the plan. Stick to the script and make it happen.
Because I if you ever heard of, oh my God, what's the name of them? It's Inside the Vault. They don't own the YouTube channel. It's I don't remember. But if you ever heard Inside the Vault, if you see the guys, how they're like one guy will be sitting in a lounge chair and there'll be another guy there, and it's also like. That's like how I started my podcast. Like I seen like how they were sitting there and they were talking and they were like it looked like they were having so much fun because they were talking about business, giving people information, ideas, and like all this stuff, and it looked so fun. Because these just 2 chairs, 2 people, and some water is what they were doing, and it was like so entertaining, right?
100%, and that's the thing that all the stuff that goes in before those interviews. It's so much work and so much preparation so that it can be smooth, it can be fun, and they can have the questions ready. I'm going to send you a few podcasts that I watch and interview guys. I don't know if you know who Tom Bilyeu is. You know Tom Bilyeu, Impact Theory?
Tom Bilyeu. I don't believe so. I don't think I know him. Oh.
He got the best questions. Like, I swear I felt like I learned how to interview just off of how he operates and he runs his show. That I get so dope.
You kind of lagged out there. I heard.
You got any more?
Oh.
Go ahead.
Oh, you lagged out there. It was pause for a second and then you zoomed all up and I heard that you had good questions and how that you kind of feel like you almost learned how to interview off of watching that podcast.
Yeah, conduct interviews. Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to do, right? Because like preparing for this, like when the first time I messaged you and you messaged me back, right? I was I was like preparing, and then because I think it was right before December. It was like I don't even remember. It was like right before December. I was preparing. Then because that was like back at that point in time, like where I had stuff ready to go, right? Because I'm like I'm gonna be ready. Because when you told me around Christmas break time, I was ready to go, right?
Yeah.
But then, as I came back and started looking at those questions, I felt that those questions weren't the best questions because they were so boring. Because I've been for the like yesterday and today, I was preparing like what are good questions to ask, like what like because there was one guy I was listening to. He always says ask why because a lot of people think the question why is too dry, but why gives the inter the person that is being interviewed to go into more detail and more into depth of what they're saying, right? I kind of said the same thing he did.
100%.
Kind of thing he did twice, but I clicked off. Oops.
Do you got any more questions? I gotta run to my grandmother.
No. All right. I won't hold you up for
Any,
any longer. But
so is there anything that you didn't get to ask that you would like to ask?
no. All right. So
Okay.
I'm looking back on the recording. It said at the beginning when you explained that your brand was you explained that what TRVE, and then I said Trev clothing, and so I could you kind of go over that again because it didn't record it right. It messed up. Oh. Hello. Oh.
You're cutting up now. You there?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah.
When I was explaining about the truck clothing.
Yeah, remember in the beginning when you said I said well, this is gonna be my intro again. This is gonna give me my intro again, I guess, because the intro didn't record. So this is Cameron's Universal Information. Sorry for the intro. This is Trev Clothing or Trevor Silver, or better known as Trev Clothing. So introduce yourself.
Oh yeah, my name's Trevor Silver. I'm from North Preston, Nova Scotia. I own Trev. Wait. Yeah, see, now you got me messed up. Hey, I'm Trevor Silver, owner of Trev Clothing. I'm from North Preston, Nova Scotia. Trev Clothing is an acronym for trust, respect, education, and value. So you got to trust yourself, respect yourself, educate yourself, value yourself, and others to succeed. So the brand's all about strong principles for success.
All right. Thank you. Oh, one last thing. Okay. One thing was when I have people like around me, right? Like I have my cousins. So let's say one of my cousins in particular, like anybody that's around me, I'm always trying to like help. Like I'm probably trying to get them to help me and then help them, right? One thing, my cousin, I won't mention his name because I don't know if he wants me to. Oh, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All
My
right.
bad.
No. So one thing, my cousin's right before he leaves. Sorry to hold you up, but my cousin, right? Like, anytime I have a podcast episode, I get him to go over like to see what he thinks first, right? I want to know because basically I always like ask him, can you go over this? You don't have to like listen to the whole thing. Just maybe skip to like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then 20, then so on forward, or whatever however long the episode is, just for like to tell me what the feel is and what do you think what do you think about the episode. So in your brand, have you ever like do you like get people to be advisors? Like if you have
100%.
have an idea, like if you like say like let's just say you want to put like
that's a consultant. That's what you do. You consult. You know what I mean? You consult with your friends. You consult with people that have expert in that field, or you know what I mean? For you, it's like you tap in with other podcasters, or you tap in with your friends that, you know what I mean, they may have the time to check it out, or someone that, because some people might not be super interested in what I'm doing, like if it comes to fashion. So I try to go to people that I know that will be excited about me coming to them for advice, or coming to them for their take on things, or expert opinion. You know what I mean? Like I got a few different designers that I tap in with, and I'll be like, hey, what do you think about this? And they'll be like, oh, it should be like, you should do this or you should do that. And I always am open and free to curation when it comes to like criticism. I need, you know what I mean? I need to become better. So what better way than presenting it to one of my friends that is good with design, or one of my friends that know what they're talking about, you know what I mean? So I feel like that's like, you know what I mean, the best help. it helps a lot. Because we're not here alone. Like, no one's building their company or their business alone. So you're getting help from the community. You're getting help from your friends. So that's, you know what I mean? And they'll be there from day one. Like for me and you, it's like, your promise to me is I'm going to build a big podcast. In the future, we can look back and say, hey, I was one of the first people on your podcast. And then now you're famous and you're big time. And, you know?
Yeah, that's what I want to do, because I was if you know Upper Hammonds Plains, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I met one of my cousins. Siobhan, Brittany, and Marissa. They said they know.
100%. I know all the Hammonds Plains people that are kind of my age.
Yeah. You know Siobhan, in particular, her boyfriend EJ. He asked me a question on Christmas, right? You know who EJ is?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he asked me a question, right? One question that I couldn't answer at that point in time, but now I kind of have an answer for it. He said to me, why should people watch your podcast? And I said, I don't know, right? But as I went home and time went on, I thought about that question, right? I'm like, there's a very simple explanation. There should be really only one answer for that question. That's why what I'm thinking now is people should want to watch me for my authenticity, for what I have to bring to the table, right? That's what I always think of.
Oh, 100%. And what you have to bring to the table, it has to be value for the viewer. If you're not bringing any value for the viewer, then the viewer's not going to watch it. You know what I mean? If you're not like either entertaining, educating, or, you know what I mean? Like, usually it's entertainment and education is what like podcasts are for, and that information is what they're getting, and the entertainment.
And I was doing my research. Joe Rogan kept coming up, because if you know Joe Rogan, he's like one of the biggest podcasters in the world. And whenever I watch, like, not like a business podcast almost, but like just like a talk show podcast, really quick, because I know I have to go. But about this podcast, it seems like everybody's trying to like model Joe Rogan's podcast, because when people are on Joe Rogan's, they're not actually scripted, right? They're just sitting there talking, right? Because they could go to because I always try to like watch the Joe Rogan ones if I do, because I don't really watch them anymore. But I always try to watch the guys that are like brain surgeons or biologists, right? Because they all have something to say. But I thought that, right? I thought that. But as time went on, it seemed like the people that were more into politics and the fighters, because you had a lot of fighters in there, it seems like they had a lot more to say, right? Like, and it seems like it wasn't always about that. If the biologist was going to say the smartest things or give you the smartest topics, the one thing, like, I was listening to my dad, he said, when Joe Rogan was talking about cats, right? He said about how cats are actually, according to him, because my dad actually, when he listened to Joe Rogan sometimes, what he says is not always true. So I'm not going to say this is true or not, but it seems like from what he was saying is true, and I did no further research into this myself, so I don't really know what I'm saying here. But basically,
those podcasts. Go ahead, keep going.
Okay, so I was saying about how cats are psychopaths, like psychopaths, like the cat. Like when he used to let his cat outside, it would go outside and kill everything, right? And I don't know why, that was super interesting to me. Like how like I don't know why like cats are psychopaths, because a lot of people think pandas are cute, right? And what the pandas will rip your face off, right? If you ever heard about that.
I find the thing about Joe Rogan's podcast is just he's a real good interviewer. When it comes to his conversation style, he's good at asking questions. He's good at debating. He's good at disagreeing with people and not offending people. He's just a great communicator, and I feel like that's what makes his podcast good. But he also, I don't know what he does beforehand, but I'm pretty sure he gets ready to have good questions for the people. It's not just, we're linking up and having a convo. I'm 100% sure he gets prepared for his stuff, because, and when you're doing it for so long, like, you're already, like, it becomes probably second nature for him. Like, he got the #1 podcast in the world, so it's like, he's the guy for podcasts. So people should be modeling after him, but they also have to figure out what's their appeal, what's bringing their fan base, why do people want to hear them versus someone else. And then it's like, if there's 100 Joe Rogan podcasts, why would they not listen to Joe Rogan if everyone else trying to be like him? you know.
Yeah. So
Yeah. What are you up to today for the rest of the day?
for the rest of the day, not too much. I don't really. I think I'm. I don't know. I don't really know what because I don't really know what I'm doing today. But it's always when I go through my days, I always try to put because like there's been no school, so I've been playing like a lot of video games recently. And during school times, I really don't play video games because I find it messes with me, right? Because I find like I don't learn as well and stuff, right? So I try to stay away from them, right? Which I did ever since September till up to probably about Christmas time. I wasn't playing it like. Probably like let's say December 10th is when I started playing a little bit, and ever since Christmas hit I've been on it every single day because I've been bored, right? And the COVID cases have been high, right? And I want to go see the new Spider-Man movie, but you can't eat in the movie theaters, right?
Yeah, I seen it. It's good. You got to check it out when you get a chance. But yeah, stay tapped in, stay off the game. I mean, play the game, but enjoy yourself. I'll send you some of the podcasts that I tap into. And if you have any other questions or anything you need from me, just let me know. Just shoot me a message.
All right, no problem. This is Cameron's Universal Information, and this has been one of my favorite episodes. This is Trevor Silver, and hope this is Cameron's Universal Information, and yeah, see you guys later on the next episode.